All right, I'm gonna go live in a second. I'm gonna post so my members can join. Yeah, no intro today. We're not gonna waste time on that. We don't have time for this. We're very late. So give me a sec. I'm just about to get this thing running. Uno segundo, por favor, señor and madame. Alrighty, let's post this so everybody can join. Give everybody a second to join and get this show on the road. And before I forget, not financial advice. Remember, none of the topics and anything that I'll be naming and talking about is not financial advice. You do you, right? It's just my meandering opinion. Hello, Mr. Awesome, Mr. Leo. Hello, everybody. Join in. Give it a sec so people can join in so we can get started. I'm sorry for being so late today. Plenty of sessions, plenty of calls, plenty of stuff going on. So it's a bit busy. Well, everybody give a second to get in, and we're gonna get started. Johnny, to the moon, just like we said in the Discord, right? Hello again. Hello. Feels funny. Half of the people here are, if not, are exactly the very same people we hung out with on the Discord. So, hello, Leonard. Hello. At least I do hope some people that are extra benefiting from this join everybody, so we can be able to get started. Let me switch screens in the time being, because I think I probably can do that already. Let's go. Let's see how the market. Well, obviously here, I mean, should I really start it already right away, or should I just wait for a second and wait until everybody joins? And then we're gonna talk about it. That's the current market, by the way. That's the post market right now. Not doing anything all that crazy, just kind of gone flat, almost. With a bit of a power hour rally at the end of the day there, but nothing crazy we haven't seen here before. And there's the regular S&P, yeah, but that's just the really messy one. So we're not gonna use this one. We're gonna use this one, or we're gonna use this one. All right, cool. I hope everybody who's supposed to get in are in. All right, let's get started. I think there's with no further ado, let's get started. Let's see how today played out. Okay, so all in all, we did say that we apparently are having some form of very strong resistance right here at around 6100, which was able to be sustained for a handful of days. But then just right now, right before the market closed, we were able to break it. Does that mean anything? Well, those who are more familiar with the harmonic patterns realize that it doesn't really mean all that much besides us completing the final steps of the harmonic patterns that we're currently doing, and so we are very much likely to start having a correction. Although, as we looked at this in the community and went over this with the members, we realized that it does appear to be that we still have almost like a week time discrepancy that we are not sure what the market is going to do with. And so let's try and figure this out, because honestly, even I wasn't really all that sure. Objectively, at 1 minute here, the market is more than ready to bring it all down and take all of that rally as if it never happened. I would argue that based just upon this size and the very narrow nature of this particular channel, it's not going to be all that surprising if we're at least going to hit median or maybe even the bottom of the channel, which gives us exactly roughly that 6100, roughly kind of where we found our resistance before. It could be that we're going to have a tiny little bit, well, relative size, if you will, head and shoulders here, some form of it as we're breaking down. I would argue, based upon what I'm familiar with and what I've noticed in recent days, and the harmonic patterns and the technicals and the structure, if you will, it does appear to be that we will be breaking very, very shortly. Like I said, there is a bit of a discrepancy, but I'm not that surprised to see that this is just a bit of a, I guess, push, just the final push. It makes sense if you understand the structure, how it looks like. And we end up counting impulses basically, and so those who are familiar understand that we're counting the final impulses, but since they're so small, it's very difficult to discern whether the final impulse was already done or is it in the making. I would argue that we're basically finishing that final impulse. Yes, we could drag it out, but, well, this is a part of it, part of the expression of that impulse. Can we really see that? Well, again, we said 1 minute wants to correct. 5 minutes, on the other hand, is still bullish, so apparently wants to retain roughly these very levels at which we got closed. Maybe then, after a while, to correct. The other problem is 30 minutes. 30 minutes is still bullish, which can kind of hint. We spoke about this level last week. That's gonna suck real bad if we do this with another gap, although we've closed some of the gaps we had. But then again, as we're opening more and more as we go up, it's just gonna be very annoying on the way down because some of them will not be closed perfectly, and so we'll spend a lot of time going up and down, basically annoying volatility, all ratchet, no vomit, as I tend to call it. Here we did get a bit of a disappointment. That guy kind of does show that potentially this is. I wonder where that bullish momentum will go, because we do have a lot of bullish momentum that ended up working out through the system. We expected this to break into oversold and so being a lot more bearish. That didn't happen, and so we got this acceleration. Let's see the 1 hourly, same thing. It prevented itself from actually breaking below the 20 range, becoming oversold and so amplifying downwards momentum, meaning instead of stopping here and going down, we were able to accelerate. We got the show of that force right here. Further out, 4 hours. This is where problems start. Really, what we realize, we've been running hot for quite a long time. We mentioned this multiple times, and we're waiting for that correction to begin as we're hitting the top of the channel. We were showing signs of deterioration as we're getting closer to 6100. In fact, that range, the 6052, 6035 area, we're already showing signs of deterioration, but then we were able to drag it out for a little bit longer. I would argue that's the inauguration and the very positive sentiment of everything that Trump might do for the economy, and so I guess there is some push through that. Otherwise, I cannot explain it. We didn't see any news or anything substantial. We could be looking at AI, at Project Stargate being the thing that sort of creates that push in the recent 2 days, well, today and since yesterday. Pretty much that could be the reason, since we haven't seen anything substantial. But again, look at the daily, we're starting to curve, meaning we're running out of momentum. We can spend this daily momentum that we're recognizing on the bullish side of things all the way into next week, really objectively, because that doesn't just run out, especially the fact of the matter that we have a lot of bullish momentum right here on the smaller time frames accumulating that needs to be purged somehow. So objectively speaking, although we are in oversold conditions on the weekly and have been doing so for the past couple of weeks, we still are in bullish conditions at face value and, well, pointing to the upside with clear divergence. Unless we're gonna see some more bearish momentum coming through with the upcoming earnings reports, this might keep on pointing upside and so giving us a little bit more confirmation about that bullish momentum, maybe confirming another movement to the upside. Those who are not familiar, there's another diagonal that is currently invisible. I would argue that will be the thing that will stop us. It's basically another channel. I just kind of am aware and able to bring it in, but it resides roughly around the center of this channel. And so that could be the motivator that will stop the price action from continuing upwards. And why are we really expecting the price action to stop this upwards rally at some point soon and start correcting? We finally get back to the monthly, and this is something I've mentioned again and again and again. It's tremendously important, and you cannot negate how that can affect the price action. Look, we have been hitting this channel that we've been working our way within the framework of for a very, very long time. In fact, years on end, as we said multiple times before, since around 2014-15. And right now, again, last time we've hit this very channel that was around December, November 2021. And so we ended up correcting to the downside, to the bottom of the channel, as you can see right here, which was at around 3,500-ish? I don't actually remember. It was like something with some 99. What is that? That's wrong. The number is wrong. Need to see it up close and personal. But anyways, we're hitting that very same resistance. Interestingly enough, by the way, the same way we spent 3 months less time hitting that resistance before we started correcting were that very same amount of time. And amusingly enough, that very source of pain and fear that we're having all along is the fact that our monthly is completely squeezed to death. We've been running hot for basically 3 years at this point, and we're more than ready to correct. We've been going through three big long impulses that are bullish that brought us up all the way to the end of the channel, which makes it far more suspect for this to start correcting. And in fact, we're already bearish at face value. It's just that internally, we don't just continue in a linear fashion downwards before we have a more accelerated trend that is oftentimes provoked by sentiment, right? So we don't have the sentiment yet, or at least it didn't sip through properly. So we're just kind of being delayed. In fact, as we said, we're starting to see signs of that sentiment potentially overturning within roughly about a week and having subsequently more bearish momentum, but not yet. So we have another kind of week maybe and a half before we see that bearish momentum spill over. The shorter time frames then run out of the bullish momentum they have, and then what happens is that you almost have that constellation of most time frames becoming bearish, and that potentially could be the time that will accelerate this monthly further deeper. And as we're getting closer, 8 days after all, right, we're basically roughly about these 7 days away from finalizing this 1 month. And then subsequently, as we're going to print new candlesticks, right, a new candlestick, if you will, and we'll see how it will start printing. We'll be able to discern how this will adjust. Again, temporarily so, it is going, what we're seeing here could be defined as a flattening of the curve. We're seeing at first a very steep curve and it starts to flatten. It's not going to be all that surprising if that's going to be the vicinity at which it will kind of take a halt, even if maybe retest another month. And we did say and admit that it could get prolonged all the way to 5 months altogether, the whole process. Although, given how the momentum is looking already, I doubt we can drag it out for 2 more months. It's just going to be extremely long. I doubt we have what it takes. That's kind of it. So we are starting to see slowly the turnaround process. It's just that some days will be a little bit more bullish. The fact that we were able to break through that resistance in such a surprising manner today, I'm not going to lie, we did not expect that. We were basically talking about it in the last several days, and it did not appear as if the market will be able to do so, but it did. We did say that it still has potential bullish momentum. For example, something we've mentioned in one of the last lives is that Palantir could, through this process, actually make it to 80. Amusingly enough, with all that bullish momentum, it's almost barely there. If those who remember, there's a descending channel, and basically this would be right out of bounds. I think that was the weekly. Why did I go to the monthly? Here it is. That's exactly the chart we need, and that's actually the emphasis of how we predicted the thing to play out. You can see it already starting to pan around, and right, so basically this high, we expected this to be already part of the descending channel, right? According to this momentum that is still very clearly descending and about to get into oversold conditions. So far, it's not yet there yet, but continuing this. It does not mean that while we're going to the downside, we're not going to have any movements to the upside. I showed you vice versa many times. And coincidentally, here we're also hitting ceiling. So we're basically working our way, getting rejected, if you will, by this current channel. And as I've predicted in the $50 Palantir video, we're gradually going to be working our way from 70 to 60 handle, and then subsequently eventually to around 50. It's just that we are on the turning around process, and that's why we said the ceiling of that very trend could be that 80, which is amusing that with all the bullish momentum that we had in the market, Palantir was not able to reach that 80, although we definitely predicted it to be able to. That will be roughly the ceiling. Again, it doesn't have to be 80 precise, it can even be 81. It doesn't matter that much to that extent, because the candle, the wick here is already so high that 84, in fact, it can be 83 and we're still going to be fine with it. That's just the reality of it all. So yeah, now you're seeing why we're worried. I mean, even on the shorter time frames, basically we're having this sketchy back and forth, which we weren't and said that we're probably going to have for a little bit. But once this gives us a full turnaround and starts entering the body of the stochastic RSI, basically below 80, we will see an acceleration. Pardon me. An acceleration of the momentum to the downside, further at least testing the median on our way down, potentially roughly the handle of 54, and then continuing to 4,800, and then we'll be wiser and smarter because we'll be able to see how the momentum looks as we make our way there, whether we have a lot more bearish momentum or are we able to correct. So that's for now. IBM? Johnny IBM? Whoa! IBM. Oh wait, guys, stars. Leonard, stars. You need to stars before the tickers, otherwise I don't notice them as well. By the way, about KMDA, what do you mean? Like, you got me out of KMDA at the right time. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, Leonard. I am very happy to hear. What did I say about KMDA? I mean, given from what you're saying, I was saying that's gonna correct, so I'm assessing KMDA. So that's kind of how I'm getting it. Leonard, please use stars. It really helps. Please help. Stars. Stars help identify. I see. I see. Well, we were also very, successful with plug. And those who know, we really got out in the very last second. Done it also very well. I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear that I was able to assist somehow for you to assess whether it was a better idea to stay or get out. You want to look at it? I mean, this is already actually rather bullish. That gap, the market might try to tend to it since it's still close. So fresh. So yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised. What I am not surprised is about this closing this. And now that I look at it, I think I remember mentioning something about this gap. I think this gap was mentioned before on that last time when we spoke about it, when you asked about it. I think that was it. But I can tell you that this gap now is not all too healthy. And given that it kind of sits neatly, I guess, and just closes there. If you go up all the way here, borderline just kind of can do it. That's weird, but we are stuck in a cell here. Obviously, there's a rectangular cell that you are within the framework of. This is not too great for you though. This is rather bearish. This is rather bearish. This is not cool. This is not cool at all for you, especially given that it tried to have convergence and failed. That is like really not cool for you, and now it's diverging really, really sharply. Not cool for you. This should have been good for you, but then again, given the fact of the matter that it's already bearish at face value and might sprint some of that bearish momentum from there below and bring you back into the channel without actually permitting you to close that gap. I will tell you what, it does appear that KMDA is on a transition downwards, at least currently towards this larger channel on the weekly. Totally makes sense. And as when time goes by, it will make its way towards the 6 handle. Lower 6s, I would argue, maybe even actually 6. Because, yeah, it's definitely there. The psychological 6 is going to be there. In fact, you're going to have it at every single dollar. So 7, 6, 5, 4, every single dollar. You're still within the range of every dollar matters. In fact, every half dollar matters. Like, that means 6.5. You're going to have a resistance. Here it is. In fact, you can see this. It played its role right there, right? It's you have that 6.5. You also have basically every half dollar in between. So 6, 5.5. And once you put them on your chart, you'll be able to see some form of a structure that will allow you to function within the framework of. That's going to be very efficient when it comes to support and resistances and momentum. And so, because momentum is kind of useless, what I keep saying, momentum is useless without a framework, if you will, a structure, something to work within and understand where the nearest supports and resistances are. And so you need to have that stuff. And people who not lay out this stuff, of course, get very confused and then they don't understand what the price action is doing, all sorts of cool things like this. Of course, having a linear regression channel really helps because it gives you a diagonal support and resistance, and the channel or a trend channel within which the framework of we are moving. So yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty much seeing basically that KMDA. I'm glad I was able to help you decide that it's the right time to get out, as far as I understand. If I understand correctly. But I would say that it looks like it's going to get worse. That's not even all the pain. And given this channel, you can see the framework of that you just been testing this wonderful head and shoulders and thingy. So you're definitely going to go even further down with this. Yeah, I hope that helps as well. So, yep. Got me. IBM, really, Johnny? IBM of all things, IBM. Wow. Wait, haven't we? I mean, I don't remember if we checked IBM, but IBM. Wow, Johnny, I respect you for bringing the cool stuff. Well, what happened, IBM? Well, what are we doing, IBM? Well, what are we expecting from IBM? What did they do so good that we look at them? Well, why do we look at them? They're definitely overpriced. First of all, IBM is like really overpriced. It's at the top of the channel. It does tend to have slippage, so yeah, that might not be the end of it all. Although it is starting to point downwards already. And it is on that short term diagonal, which of course is very quick and can literally see it. And you're now on top of your slow channel. You're out of bounds. You are out of bounds. The cool thing for you here on the weekly is that this is not sure whether it's bullish or bearish. It's bullish. I tell you, it's bullish. But not cool for you is your daily, definitely bearish, and so we'll start bringing you slowly. And it's not the initiation position, so the where it starts, which is the median of this channel as given as is. It appears to be like it's far more likely to test this bottom anytime soon, giving you through this movement to the downside, but that is short term, so it's not going to take all that long. When you do complete that gets amplified, it gets tested basically, which now appears to be the ceiling of the monthly, and you can see magically it's the very same level, right? And so that's probably going to get retested several times, several candlesticks similarly to here, but it could be so that you break below and test it from the bottom, from the lower end of things, right? Kind of like that, and then proceed downwards. Why are we saying that? Because your downtrend has already started. It wasn't certain, but now as it is sort of squeezing inwards, and even if it will have another corrective movement right here, and not open up, basically not diverge again, stay so converge again and give dominance to bullish momentum, that is exactly what could maybe end up testing that very same ceiling to which you're testing right now, while giving more time for this to close up to you, then break down, which means what? So you're gonna waste a little bit more time and only then do that. And I would argue that your dead giveaway here that you're gonna go down is this. Actually, I expected this to happen on the monthly. I'm not gonna lie, I expected this to actually look like this on the monthly, but sure, I get it. Well, I understand. And as you can see, you're all on all of these channels. You're similarly on the top of the channel, just like we described with the S&P. So it's not going to be all that surprising if you're going to start correcting downwards, or at least to the median, which gives you 177, 120. If things will really go bad, and it will go like this. Yearly, how does yearly look like? Amusingly enough, I understand how this is misleading. This is a downtrend. This is a very, very prolonged downtrend. And once this sort of squeezes over again, which, as we said, very likely based upon the smaller time frames, this is how you build a downwards trajectory. It just ends up being very, very prolonged, very slow. In fact, maybe, depending if IBM would actually be able to do something that is worthwhile prior to, based upon the structure of this, they're gonna go this way for many more years, and that really depends. That depends if you're gonna see the smaller time frames bring it down, just as we expect. Expect basically a continuation of the downtrend. Doesn't mean that the price action will necessarily be not making new highs. It's just it will be making these new highs through making lows. If it's higher lows, but still going to be very low and very painful. Talking about 50% drop here, right? To be clear, potentially up to. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying up to. So retaining the bottoms of this channel, maybe slightly higher. Sure, give it 150, right? Still almost around the 40, 30 something percent for yourself, depending if you're at the top. Okay. What do you think about them? Let's look them. I think them is a really nice way to make songs. That's what I think. I'm losing it. That what happens when you work all day without eating. I'm losing it. I don't like them already because it's too new, so I don't like them. Nope. What do them do? What do them do? Them. Oh yeah, the healthcare. Oh, that sucks. Especially now with this Stargate thing, we'll see how healthcare goes and whether half of them go bankrupt or just in fact explode to the stratosphere. We'll see. Although I don't think when it will, it's gonna take years of implementation. So it's not actually everybody's gonna wake up tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, look at that, we have Stargate thingy, and everybody gets super duper healthcare. It's like, guys, I mean, I get it, and it's cool. It's a cool idea, and AI potentially can make it better. I'm not even talking about the potential of making it worse, but sure. Let's say it does work as planned. It still takes years. Okay, so no. Tem does not look to me. I'm not fan of Tem. Tem does not look like the thing I would touch. Not just because the sector, but also more so because of how fresh and new the stock is. And yes, we can find some technicals and actually probably find and extrapolate what it might do, but I would argue that the sector and the stock being so new, I realize how inconclusive and uncertain my analysis can be, and so I don't want to mislead you. Um, I can probably find some stuff, but I can tell you that it appears to be, without even setting up a proper structure, I can tell you that it appears to be like it's gonna get worse before it ever gets better for them, if at all. Unless they invent like a cure for I was about to say AIDS, but I don't know, like it doesn't seem like AIDS is a big deal nowadays or something. So something else? Cancer or something like that. Special super duper cancer, right? This is bullish though. This is bullish. This is bearish though. So it kind of has both forces working for it and against it. But the main force that it has against it is the fact that it's in healthcare. Really. And tell you a little secret. I'll tell you a little secret. If we are going into a recession and to a deeper correction in overall market, I know, given everything that happened during 2020, 2019, all that beautiful stuff, healthcare is that thing that people tend to save money on simply because it's difficult and expensive, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna just try to walk it off and stuff like that. We have people doing it nowadays. In fact, I'm curious how Stargate will affect truly the healthcare infrastructure in the U.S. I mean, because the idea is cool, right? But it's far more difficult than just giving people free healthcare in the first place. Just the amounts of money that will be spent on this, honestly, could be just spent by giving people free healthcare. Done. Problem solved. You know? So my question is, how are you going to do one without the other? You're going to have to spend a lot of money. Plus, if you really want to implement a whole bunch of AI and stuff, electricity. So that thing will cost you. Will cost you and will take years to implement and perfect. So we're far from it. And so I understand maybe why people are so hyper excited right now about healthcare, but no, I don't want to touch healthcare, and especially something so brand new and fresh that doesn't have enough conclusive data for me to use. You told me what your top would be. Wait a second. For energy. Yeah, okay. Gotcha, nannies. Thank you. You got them legend. Everybody shout out to Nannies for being the best moderator on the planet and helping me out all the time. The top would be, I see, I see. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And I'm happy. Like I said, I was able to identify that correctly, at least in the short term, for you to be able to take advantage of that. That is cool. Before tickers, yes, star before tickers really helps. Bedwars again. Can you look at GLD? Is it good place to park for near future? Interesting question. I think we have done that just recently, and somebody asked, and I don't remember when I said that. I think I had said there's a correction at play there that needs to happen, and actually, cool. There it is. There it is. We have something. We have something. Let's see what it is that we have. Yep, looks like I do remember correctly, and it looks like I was saying that we, even if retesting, look, I'm gonna remove the noise a little bit. Try at least, just move some of the junk. Maybe that was the other junk they should have removed. This junk, yeah, sort of. Actually, I don't know. Maybe this. Probably. Yeah, sure, that's the same one. Yeah, it looks like I was potentially saying basically that we're going to have some retest of this very resistance, these two levels that you have 160, 180. I know you have two of them. It looks very weird. But you do. I actually remember the analysis. I actually do remember us running through the analysis and why there are basically two cycles here that kind of fall closely to one another, and so creating this artificial channel to 161s, basically 161.80s, giving us 252. So let's run it up to 250, 259. So let's run it up to 260, 250, 260. $10 gap, not well, range, not gap, range. And there you go, 250, 260. Now I realize I'm more, and I already had it written on the screen. But it does appear so that afterwards, I said when done and complete, which it appears that we're doing it right now, we will be dropping back to 195, 185. That's what it appears to be based upon these two numbers, right? So kind of like that eventually, or something like that eventually. Eventually, I'm gonna look at that backwards and think like, that did I say it's gonna drop? I'm not saying, I'm not giving a period of time. I don't have to tell you. I know you know, but just for the rest of you who don't understand, I'm not saying that's how long it will take. I'm just saying that's gonna be the location. More so, I'm saying that these two tight levels right there, these two 234.24 and 229.62 will be definitely a set of levels that will the market will test on the way down, and so maybe get entangled right here before being able to continue. So 1, 2, right, cool. Maybe actually 1, 2, 3, if anything. That could be a scenario as well. In fact, let's make a different color, so I'm then gonna ask questions like a moron. What did I want to say here? I wonder what was I trying to say. That is GLD for ya. GLD for you, and if I'm not mistaken, what did we say about actual gold? Yeah, I remember I always said it's gonna correct, but I see it's up again. Well, what happened there? What was I saying? What happened? What did we do? I see dead chocolate. I see that we said that the market will probably, I wonder what it will go into that wedge. That's what I was trying to say. Instead, the market ended up mocking me and just jumping on top of my box as if it's a Super Mario game. Is that what we had here? Did the market make fun of me? Is that the thing? Let's see what we had here. I have a suspicion I'm gonna find it with some other time frame. Come on, other time frame. Oh, no, that's stupid me. I'm being stupid. Let's see. That's not that either. Daily? Was it daily? Daily. I have a suspicion it might have been a daily or the monthly. You know what? Let's check it out weekly. Weekly, for then it just becomes too tight. And so I'm gonna be surprised. No, where's my short range? Where's my long range? What's going on? Where's my bazooka? Here it is. Here it is. We found it. There we go. So the premise was, I think the channel was, wait, was it? Maybe? You know what? I just want to see. I just want to see whether the channel is in a different place, but then that box is too small, so I would argue that's dumb. That cannot be it. So my conclusion is this probably in a channel that I was trying to draw, but because I'm crooked as all hell, I drew it kind of offset. That's my assumption. Or maybe I'm just an idiot. All could be. I'm just gonna let it be for now. What am I gonna say that I see about it right now? Okay, we're definitely trying to say something here. So it's gonna go oversold, right? But then again, it pushed back up. But then it is still retaining a lower high so far. What did it do? Did it do the market doodly do, or did it do something separately doodly do? It sort of didn't really do the market, but it did at the same time, but not as crazy. Okay, cool. Right, so if the market corrects, it goes with it. And coincidentally, on the weekly, it's sitting on the top of the channel. Do we have a wider channel on the monthly? Let's see, I wonder. Yeah, it resembles that one thing we just said called S&P. And so I would argue that there's a high probability that is not a pure coincidence right there, right? And so my suspicion here, for some reason, given how similar it looks and suspiciously it looks to the SPX at exactly the same time frame, I might say that it might just do exactly what I'm saying that it will on the SPX, and so subsequently test the stop and start correcting inwards. You have that 2600 obviously level, and I see we have a couple more levels, so I'm not going to be surprised if it's going to be a very gradual, very annoying process of testing this vicinity just to move into this vicinity, just to move into this vicinity, which will give you the test of the median at roughly around 240 to 2441. Yep. No brain. No brain. I'm today no English speaky. Speaky, no speaky. Very new to speaky. Oil. Lucas, we actually spoke about oil the other day, and I said that we're gonna hit 80 and start breaking downwards. I did expect 75 to hold a little bit better, but then again, I know, understand how you look at this and you're like, well, we're below the 75, so we're broke down. No, actually, this could be that procedure of us getting entangled with that level and going back and forth. And I do think some of this sentiment came from Trump's sentiment and what he said in the last couple of days about how they're gonna drill, baby, drill, and that all wonderful stuff, but it's not all that simple. We've been doing that and getting prepared to retest this level, and there is a technical structure that literally implied to this, and this is how I knew we're gonna retest that 80 and break back down, as much as I would like to see it going higher, because that's gonna play very nicely with my thesis. But we're not gonna be biased here. We're just gonna talk about what we see at face value. And so right now, for example, in 30 minutes, we're actually in oversold territory, you can see, right? So that kind of explains why we're going for a correction right there. You can see that coordinates very neatly with this. And so that very next continuation of the trend back to the median, which is coincidentally the top of the short range channel, you can see the convergence of the two forces, this force and that force right here. They literally are on top of each other. And coincidentally, we saw bullish momentum on smaller time frames, so giving it acceleration. Once this is complete, which is kind of, I would say, spent normal amount of time on that correction, and sooner or later, I would say more sooner than later, we'll potentially try a corrective movement towards at least the 50, which, although we'll still keep it in a bearish realm, but still a corrective movement, which could be yielding up to 74.23. Very short range, nothing all that substantial. Very similar to that, but this actually gives us a little bit of sort of oomph to its going, so it can make it a little bit higher. So basically somewhere above this channel kind of will appear to be a slippage, as if it's developing a new bullish potential channel, the same way it does correct on downwards temporarily on the shorter time frame. It also does that within the framework of the larger channel, as you can see. Sort of something that looks like this. You can see this thing. And so slowly, when we do match that retest that bottom, of course, we might start correcting to the upside, to that median. It falls in line very neatly with everything else we saw. Still testing the bottom, so again, at the bottom. Remember, every time we see bottom, unless it does not fall against the trend, we are potentially dropping in order to go higher, right? The same way we move up, right? We moved up. Notice what happened here. We had a rally, and now we had a corrective movement, and now we ended up at a spot that is already higher than previously. And so if we have another run similar to that, we end up at even higher price, roughly at around the handle of 80. And this is just me being generous instead of giving you a tremendous rally like sorry, something more faster, right? So yeah, but still, roughly kind of ends up in the same vicinity. We do have various strong resistances to break. That's the 78 area, the 80 area. But based upon how the trend is already being structured and momentum as well, and you'll see what we mean. Again, you have all the making pieces to be able to break that longer duration trend on oil, which we had. Look, here it is. That's the black line. It's been testing and holding off oil basically forever and a bit, right? 2020, if you really want to know, 2020, 21. And so, yeah, we are at the process of breaking that channel. And as the market deteriorates and energy becomes more expensive and lucrative, we're going to see this actually run up quicker. Right now, it's still testing the 70. And the weekly, well, we're already starting to see sign of bullishness, but this is still relief, so bearish on bullish territory, so temporary sort of shock. And here is the main punchline. We've already been oversold, and this is how we are starting to correct. This is a sort of process. You see we're going downwards, and now we're starting to correct to the upside. There might be another retest in the making, and then proceed to the upside, right? Upside giving us 80, the bottom of the 80s, and maybe higher. At which point we're gonna see a lot of demand destruction in various industries because simply raw material became tremendously expensive. And if that flips over quarterly within like a month or two, that just means get ready to rumble 90 within, I would say, 3 to 4 months. Unless Trump is able to make people, deliver on their oil needs within literally a month or two, and make sure that the drilling actually initiates within like a day or so from here, and they already have barrels of oil within a week from now, which I doubt that's going to be the case. Just saying. Let alone convincing the Saudis to decrease the price of oil when that is one of the things they make the most amount of money on, especially right now. Just saying. It's going to be very weird for them to agree on that. So, I mean, yeah, plus the trajectory, the technicals, and all that beautiful stuff still is pointing the same way. I hope I already answered that one, Leonard, the $35 question, because I already kind of forgot about time. I already kept on running forward. So sorry. I hope I answered that question subsequently through my explanation. I really do hope I was able to. So we said oil, Subro, Meta, Amazon looking good. Hey Mamba, good to see you. Let's check out Meta real quick. Meta, I'm not too excited about it. I mean, Zuckerberg, the goddamn lizard, is trying to befriend us all again after, he wants something. This I don't trust him. I don't trust him. He's like that meme, How are you doing, fellow youngsters, fellow humans? How are you doing, fellow humans? No lizard, not lizard people. So yeah, I don't trust them. I don't trust Meta. In fact, I've deleted my Facebook account and stay away from all their applications. Remember who Zuckerberg is. He's not exactly the most exemplary person with the greatest morals in the world. Just saying. But then again, it's not about him. It's about whether the company can make money, right? Right. Actually, damn, it's bullish. Why is it so bullish? 4 hourly is bullish, right? It's pointing up into overbought territory at face value with bullish momentum driving it right now. Bullish momentum driving it on the daily, just a tad bit before overbought. Slightly behind, roughly around 50, so that is kind of behind, but is clearly pointing to the upside once you have that 4 hourly and daily spill over their bullish momentum that we just saw into the weekly. Of course, it will appear even more weekly, subsequently getting closer to the 80. And because it will appear so bullish, I'm not going to be surprised if it can push over the 80. So actually, Meta is goddamn bullish. And yeah, no matter where I look, it is like stupid bullish. Basically, Meta is still bullish. I just hated on for like 3 minutes straight, and I still hate on it. I really hate it. I really do. And especially Zuckerberg, Schmupperberg, Blue Flufenflork. But anyway, I don't like him. I don't like that alien guy, basically fake human being. I don't trust him. But damn, Meta is impressive. Meta is just bullish all over the goddamn place. Like, wow, this, I think we haven't seen anything so bullish anytime recently. Like, nothing like that. Like, on all fronts, it's bullish. On some less than the others, but given the constellation and perfection of how bullish everything is on it, I would say, of course, some of the time frames will flip, like the hourly, like the 45s we're looking at right now, back and forth. Of course, the 30 minutes will flip like a bajillion times, but this is definitely, you know, needs to correct downwards a little bit since it's been running hot for quite a while. So don't expect it from here to explode. It might just go downwards, retest some levels, and only then eventually start spilling over all the positivity. But then again, I would argue that the Meta is just as highly correlated to the rest of the market. So if the market goes to shit, this goes to shit with it. How far deep shit? Like deep shit. Most assets will drop roughly a similar amount to what the indices are expected to. And so if we're saying that the indices will roughly fall around 50%, don't be surprised if the assets will fall roughly around 20 to 50%, depending on how more correlated they are and volatile in risk on to the major indices. I would argue that your Meta will definitely test 55555 once it breaks the 611 right there, because there's a 55555 right there. And once it does, it probably will retest it to death because it appears to be a very strong support. And so when it does, and I tell you, it's a dumb psychological thing and that stems from human behavior. The end of the day, it is what it is. But yeah, it will probably get retested heavily, in fact, more heavily than the 611. That's what it appears to be at face value right now. Also, I would say that this is overbought, so that will correct the short term. 1 hourly overbought will correct. 4 hourly, which is long enough to actually consider and has an upwards channel, and rightfully so, having this very nice, neat, bullish momentum to finalize this. And so we can probably put this range as a target, which gives you roughly around 640. Still not that far off from where you're at. So that's not going to be all that surprising if it can make that happen right before it breaks. Yes, still bullish, right? And so yeah, that can definitely make that happen. That 640 area. And then if the market will go, bananas, then first of all, the Meta will go with it, and more so the whole tech sector. And given that that's a major part of it, it will fall. And but it's still bullish at face value. It is rather bullish. Yeah, I've heard Nancy Pelosi's like Nancy Pelosi's buying a whole bunch of stuff. Alright, as part of this A project. Okay, let's look. Alright. I don't know if I'll be able to run through all of these boys and girls. I'm seeing there's like plenty, and I'm already starting to feel really tired. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna try and see what I can do. This looks like one of these pockets. Stocks do tend to try and make that happen. They have a weird tendency to do so, but as you're gradually working through its downwards resistances that it supports as it sort of was going down, now you're going through the very same resistances on the way up. And I'll argue that right now you're physically sitting on one. Here it is, you can see it, and there's probably a very narrow channel right there. But let's see and try and figure out what it's going to do in the near-term future. Um, mm, 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 mm. Given the structure of the channels and given that we've been so high up there and I'm seeing how it's slowly breaking down, so I'm not gonna be surprised if you're gonna do end up testing the ceiling just to get back to here and eventually maybe here. The question is, will you actually have that? Yeah, probably you will, because this will die down and you're gonna start correcting and this will become more more a plausible reality. Doesn't mean we'll continue like this into oblivion, but I'm not gonna be surprised if we'll test at least the bottom level of it, given how bearish this is becoming. Did meta we did Gra damn was pumped because Nancy Pelosi took leaps in her pure. Ah, I see. That's what you're writing. Okay, yeah. No, I've heard that Nancy Pelosi just the other day. I've heard she took a whole bunch of positions and she's like bullish, crazy on a bunch of stuff. We know that Nancy Pelosi is one of the suspicious, most, well, her husband, as we say all the time, is some of the most suspicious traders on the planet. Somehow he's like stupendously successful. That is beyond explained and normal. So yeah, I mean, you do you. I don't want to. I hate following Nancy Pelosi, and especially buying something because she bought it. Like, not something that I'm not gonna do that. If I would like to buy something, it's because I found that it's good to buy. SMR, SMR. Cool, cool, coolsies. Coolsies. Right. So let's just keep it simple. I'm sure you, even if the other one is correct as well, you're gonna be up to date. That is for sure. There we go. There we go. Let's see if it's. Yep. All good. Perfect. Job done. Now, let's see what we have. Right there, what do you have? You have definitely still gonna try and complete into that wedge. I mean, again, whether it has time or not, follows indices or not, but the reality is that it is trying to close towards that 3381 ish. Yeah, definitely trying to close towards that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the sad reality is that once completed, is probably more than ready to continue correcting, and now this is just a temporary sort of uh, temporary situation, unless you're gonna have a lot of bullish momentum on a good earnings report, which doesn't seem like you had one in a lot of time. And you're about to have one on March, so 13th. That is the 13th of March. The 13th. Not a blast for them. So yeah, you might still make it. I can absolutely see how you make it to 3381, but definitely be on your toes because you even were able to do that just because you're lucky. Otherwise, the market will probably break prior to that. Mm-mm-mm. CRM. Wait, did I miss anything? No. CRM. the same time, oh yeah, absolutely. Even looking at you, but not. So maintaining the median, retaining the median, you're definitely holding on to this right now. But it does appear that you're gradually, so you made it here, now you're gradually making it here, then you're gonna make it to here, which is here, so kind of like this thing on the grand scheme of things. The real question is what you're gonna do when you're done with it. Are you gonna correct back into the channel, or are you gonna continue down? And well, yeah, and that's pretty much the question. The reality is that you're actually seeing a lot, showing a lot more bullish signs with this one, but I don't think that is enough bullishness to make it to 501 within the framework of being at 334. That's a bit weird. That though does not look all too healthy, how it's starting to curve down right there after having a prolonged rally, and now it's going moving slowly into oversold territory, giving it confirmation for that 311.75. And if it really goes bad, then 246.15 definitely confirms that. So basically, you can see almost that wave being built, and then through several impulses going downwards. So even if you're gonna have some temporary good movement, all in all, it does appear to be that it will be dragged down. Like we said, 311, 246. Potential if it gets real bad, like really, really, really bad. There's another level somewhere in between, and don't forget you're gonna have 250. You're gonna have your various psychologicals, which is 300, 250. Don't forget these. But you're gonna have another level roughly at around 280 handle, rather strong as well. So that is it. Very well. To help Greg. You are a legend. We also need to have at least another session or two, just like I said and I promised, and you're just not taking me up on it. You keep on being busy. But that's okay. You still have it. Once you're ready and you want to take advantage and do some refresher, we are ready to do it with you. I'm just going to position, breaking it down with leaps. Okay, yeah, that is up to you. And guess I didn't get into much trouble for his Lauren Lauren Sanchez peak. I've heard something about that. NVO. NVO. Oh, now that is not a cool one. That's a very complicated one as well. I think I remember they have something in the works that might really completely turn this around. Recently spoke about, but at face value, this is going down. Nearest, this is simple, but let's talk about it again when it hits about 60 handle. When it hits the 60 handle, let's talk about Novo Nordisk again. But I think I remember them working on something that potentially may change the trajectory of the price. And given how it's already close to various supports that are relatively strong, I'm not gonna be surprised if then within some time it's not like 70 maybe range. No, don't ignore 60, but more like 70, maybe it's like $10 more is gonna be a pretty decent area to actually pick it up. So I'm just saying what I'm saying right now, but we'll have to see what it does when it does, if it does break to that, what is that, 65 area, like I said. And so that's then we're going to be a lot smarter. But I would argue that it's right now racing towards that median, and when it does land on it, we'll see. It's not going to be all that surprising if the market will hold on to it at least for a while and work its way upwards before even retesting down, if at all. But first, let's be smart about it. Let's talk about the 60 and maybe the potential upwards along the median when it does. Bam! That was, I mean, it's gonna get complicated. That was, at face value, it seems simple, but it's just because we haven't really got to the difficult part of it, but the difficult part is already showing through. So for GLD, you don't think that it will go up to about 3,000 once the recession will start? I don't know. I have to go to back to GLD. Guys, we need to be attentive when I do these things because otherwise I'm gonna be jumping back and forth. It's gonna be horrible for everyone. I mean, look, I don't like answering these questions in that sense that it almost puts me in a biased position, but that's why I just give you the analysis. And so, in fact, wait, what did you say? What question? What is that? What range? What? I think that will go up about 3,000. So you're to 300 or 3,000. What are you talking about? Because you want to be telling me that you're talking about gold and not GLD? So because you kind of mixed some stuff there. So which one is it? I mean, again, I'm not. No bias. Like I said, it's looks like we're at the ceiling and slowly gonna deteriorate to that 200, 2,000, 2,500, 2,441. And no, it doesn't seem like it can make it to 3,000 before going to the downside. That does not appear to be the case. People often expect safe havens. Again, maybe if the market will go to total and utter shit in such a rapid pace that the market will find it to be more beneficial to actually go into such safe havens so strongly and so rapidly that it will actually appreciate in price. But I think it will eventually. But first, it does need to drop. And I've said this originally when I did predict it to go to these very highs at which it is right now. I actually said it will correct downwards. I think if you look long enough backwards, months ago, I've been sort of saying this in advance. So, yeah. I don't think it can do 3,000. Definitely, that's like too far. That is far too far. Far too far. And more so much bearish momentum on all fronts. It's going to be very weird. It's not bearish right now, it's bullish, but bearish incoming, obviously, one way or another. Strong week, we'll see. This is trend change. Target trend. Is there possible trend change? Okay. Again, I'm not sure about that. Good position breaking Monday. I grabbed CRM. Again, options are not my avenue. They're so not my avenue. So, and I don't like them even. Although if I'll spend enough effort, I kind of do know what I'm talking about, but then again, I so hate them. So not a tool that should be given to the average trader, which is going to result with the average person, retail trader, losing more money through that. Okay, obviously still doing this, going monthly, or doing on a monthly, going up. So yeah, we're obviously completing all the way to this first. It appears to be. Okay, I see. So I think you're gonna be maybe retesting this, like doing it higher and then going downwards. So, yeah. Just that's what it seems for me to do. And then I see how even emphasize how it's gonna retest these levels, potentially giving you another something akin to this before, so to get to 246. I can absolutely see what I showed that. I can absolutely see and also see that this is also market related, and so I'm not going to be surprised it's going to react very similarly how the market will when the market will start dropping finally in the very near future. Yeah, aim for 7 delta. Like, yes, delta is very important. Very, very important, yes. My target of the summer is $400. So we can make money, exactly. She's strong from Golden Sun and Rocket. Zone. Okay, okay, gotcha. Hello. And market go up. Let us find out why. It's technical testing. It's technical testing of these levels, which are excessive, but it is still technical testing. It doesn't matter though, because I do kind of project it to run out at some point very soon. What are we doing now? Still, okay. This is such not a great thing. I'm so not into all these gaps, especially at the levels we're at right now. That's so not cool. Not cool. Hit a like. Absolutely, hit a like Nanny says. Yeah, hit a like. Thanks. Envio was working on that fat pill thing. Uh-huh. Okay. Fat pill thing. It's a pill that gets you fat. You already did it. Gotcha. Greg is to sleep already. I am. I am. I'm very tired. I'm not gonna lie. All right. So on this note, we're gonna finish this. We're gonna finish this, and we will continue tomorrow because I'm also human and I'm feeling very tired. But we'll continue tomorrow. Definitely, those here who are not on the Patreon or more so on the Discord, join Patreon. So then you can join the Discord because it's a private community, and the only way to be able to get into Discord and talk to me on the air on a everyday basis and ask me questions about technical analysis and break it down and talk about anything from food to aliens. Definitely join the Patreon so you can join us and have access to me, like I said, on a daily basis and see a lot more in-depth technical analysis and ask questions about it. And other stuff as well, of course, like we said. Boys and girls, that was an awesome, awesome hangout, awesome live. I'll see you on the next one and on the Discord. Bye bye.